Just before we start, I just wanted to mention one thing quickly. Helos & Co. and Sporting Club Helos are independent missions. They're both run solely by myself. So if you could like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, it would mean the world. Check out helosandco.com. And without further ado, let's get into it. On my 24th birthday, ran 24 kilometres.
Yep.
So, you drive through the mountains when you come down.
Yeah.
So Springwood.
Yep.
I live in Wimerley, which is around like 5-10 kilometres north. And you run all the way to Springwood, then ran down the mountain to Nepean River.
Far out.
Yeah. And I did that when I posted.
Hilly?
Yeah, it is hilly, but nothing like no like steep inclines for like over a kilometre. It's just like straight up and down like a few hundred metres, if that.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But it's mostly downhill. But still, that's like a lot of people think, how do I word it? A lot of people think running uphill is like hard, but when you're running downhill at my weight, your knees want to blow out.
Yeah,
yeah.
I definitely experienced it. Look at me. Like I said, I just don't get it. I can't. Everyone's just running now, and it's all running content too. Let's start a run club, or here's me running as if everyone wants to see everyone running all of a sudden. I don't know
what it is, but people go like I had someone go, it's just a trend. I go, bro, it's probably the greatest trend of all time. Like
it's a healthy trend.
Yeah. If you want,
I probably should get into it, but I might just hold off just a little bit longer.
Yeah. I also did it because I kind of Luke Stowe.
Yeah.
He messaged me about possibly being like a backup on I was in Thailand at the time on the
Podcast Royale.
Yeah. He messaged me about it or something. So then I was like, shit, I actually got to get fit. I've never boxed in my life, never spent one day in a camp. And I was like, fuck, I actually might end up going up there if it's like someone pulls out. And so I just kept running all the way through. But then I don't know if you remember, do you remember Nike's like greatness ads?
Yeah, with like...
do you remember the fat kid running?
No.
He's on like this country road and all you hear is like mosquitoes and crickets. And they're on like a country road, just gravel. And from the distance, you see this figure slowly get closer and closer and closer. And it's this fat kid running. But they've got like the voiceover guy. Like greatness is within all of us, blah, 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 like giving a full speech. I saw that when I was younger. I was a big boy. When I was 19, I was 155 kilos. Fuck. I think I'm 128 now. But like when I was younger, I saw that and I was like, fuck. Like
you're a tall lad though.
Yeah, tall. So I think some people get surprised by my weight. But if I showed you photos of like my face back then, like massive boy, eh? But I seen that back then. I always thought like I'd love to do that one day. I just don't know what capacity. So we went out Castlereagh Road, did it Sunday morning last week, 6:30. Yep. That's what we were doing just then. We're getting
film the end of it or something.
The sound for the shoes.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, because you need to record the sound and the butterflies and all that separately and all the flies. So yeah, Nick is literally about to go upstairs, edit that.
So if we want to find out like if running content is good for us, right? Find out what that fat kid's doing now.
Yeah.
Right? What is it, like 10, 15 years since?
Yeah, it's 11
If
years
he's doing well for himself, let's all start running, right? If he's not, if he's like in a hole doing heroin, then probably don't run. Don't film yourself running.
How do you feel about charity match today? Are you fit? Like,
no. But I've got a good 10 minutes in me. Like, and these sort of games, there's a lot of drop ball, so you're going to get a lot of breaks. So you need good 5-minute stints, right? And then we've got like 6 or 7 reserves, so just pull someone off. And
were you there last year?
No, I watched it.
Yeah,
and I was like, this is good. Like, and that's why I wanted to get involved this year. So sponsored the Ronald McDonald House, and then just said, I suppose that got me a spot.
Yeah.
But I've played a little bit of footy back in my juniors and stuff, so like I can handle the ball and run and tackle. So
playing out west, you'd be pretty hardened.
Oh yeah, mate, tough. No.
Yeah, it's tough out there,
mate. People don't realise like bush footy. Like I never played a lot of like first grade and stuff, but the first grade back in like the late 90s, early 2000s was top notch.
Yeah,
and, like there was guys in like the 70s and 80s getting picked from bush footy to go play.
Yeah.
First grade. That was like country, city country. That was when it was massive, and they had like country first. I think Western Division in what was it the 70s won the MKO Cup.
Yeah.
So like it's tough out there.
Yeah.
People don't realise like the groups out there were very tough. Like just blokes just going out and smashing each other.
Yeah, it's just farmers, man.
Yeah.
Blokes just raised out in the fucking land.
Yeah.
Like,
never wanted to play. Like most of them probably never wanted to play first grade in Sydney. They just wanted to stay and work on the farm and battle hard on the farm, and just come and smash some blokes on the weekend.
Your team today is pretty stacked.
Everyone says that, but like, you know, Mark Hughes Foundation, they've got a few players as well.
Yeah, we're pretty stacked. I think our most low key weapon, you'd have a lot to do with him, is Rando.
Yep.
He's
well, he played like SG Ball, did he, or Harold Matts or something?
Possibly with Ty.
Yeah,
because Ty was at Roosters as well around that time period.
Yep.
I don't know, how old's Rando? Do you know? Like
late
late
20s? Mid to late 20s. Yeah.
Yeah, because
I thought he was maybe a bit younger than Ty. But I could be wrong.
And then we've got
he looks like he dead set looks 21, so he could be like 30 looking 21, right? One of those guys that's just going to have good looks forever.
Yeah.
Prick. I'll call him out.
Trademark Sports, do you know him?
Yeah, I have never met him. So that's a good thing about this, that I've hardly met any of them. I went to a training session last night. It was just great to meet a lot of the guys because I've spoken to them for like 7 years.
Yeah.
Since I've started the page, and to actually get them to meet in person and have a conversation and in real life, it was good. So yeah, I know of Trademark Sports. Don't even know his first name, but
I don't even know.
No, most of these guys I know by. Yeah, they're just coming up to me. I'm going, oh, Dean, Roasty, and I'm like, oh yeah, Roasty, whatever, you know. So it's hard getting to like, you know, say, oh, I'm Roasty.
Yeah,
it just doesn't come natural. But get to meet these guys and find out their real names and have a good conversation.
Yeah,
good.
It's cool, eh?
Yeah,
I'm so keen. Last year, I was filming the event because I found out about it and I was nowhere near fit. And they're like, do you want to play? And my platforms weren't even anywhere near as big as they were now. And I was like, no, I won't play, but I'll come film everything. And end up uploading shit to TikTok. A lot of the videos got like a lot of views, like 100K plus. But when I was there, like on the sidelines, they only had 4 per bench or something. And they both ended up with like 11 or 12 on the field by the end of it.
They were just dropping, weren't they? Like injuries and stuff, yeah.
Well, mixed. So you had like a bit of heat, and then you had blokes unfit, and then you had blokes getting injured. And blokes that just had never played rugby league, just out on their knees at the end, like heaving.
I know it's like it's low at the moment. I think it's only like the early 20s, but they predicting like 40 or something later on. I'm just yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. Hopefully, because I think there was rain and some clouds come over last night. So hopefully it's probably just humid, not that real bad heat.
Yeah. Who's your forward pack?
There's Ados the Great.
Oh yeah, he lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, he's looking real fit. Blake Darlow. Darlison, I think it is, but good. Darlow, and then me off the bench.
Yeah, that's fine.
So there's we're not strong up front, but we've got like a little bit of size out wide as well.
Yeah.
Not looking forward to probably 10-minute stints in the middle, but like I said, there's going to be a drop ball. There's going to be plenty of chances to get your breath back.
Yeah, I'm keen to shape up against some of the boys.
Yeah, you got a few big boys in there, like Donny Sports.
Yeah.
He's there off the bench. Are you off the bench?
Yeah, off the bench. Nilso's starting, but Chich is starting. And Chich, no shit, is probably the smallest guy there today.
Who's Chich?
Chichu,
yeah.
Again,
there's a lot of these guys I don't like. A lot of these guys on TikTok. I'm not big on TikTok, right? Yeah. And so a lot of these guys are massive on TikTok. I'm like, I've never heard of them. Like, yeah. But it's be good. Like, I'm not saying that in a like bad way. Like, they've done well, but I'm just, I suppose it's showing my age. Like, I've got to get on TikTok a bit more. But
last year there was a guy who's in our team this year at hooker. His name's Moe Duwari.
I've heard of him. Yeah,
Duwari's like a good arm.
Yeah, like he's very vocal. Yeah, and the boys are into him a fair bit. So
he just last year he was playing fullback, but like you could tell he played footy because he just spotted a gap in the ruck.
Yep.
Just like John Bernard was playing hooker, and Moe just hit the gap and he just give me the ball, just go straight through the gap. Did it multiple times, but I've never played a game ever.
You're an AFL guy, yeah?
And like Sunday league.
And soccer, yeah.
Yeah,
yep.
So I play like Sunday league, and that's where the TikTok comes from. But played AFL growing up, and I've never played league. I've never played touch. I've never played Oztag. Never played rugby league. I have no experience out in this field today, eh?
Just don't drop the ball and then start kicking along the ground. That's what I said about your captain. Was it Nick Stav?
Yeah.
I was like, all in good banter, but I was like, oh, imagine having a captain that's a soccer guy, like. And typical soccer guys out in the wing. Doesn't want to get in the middle dirty, but I said, mate, don't make sure you if the ball's on the ground, you just don't start kicking it.
The thing about AFL, but it's because you learn how to kick a ball. It sounds a bit offensive to like rugby league players, but you learn how to kick a ball properly.
Yep.
And you can kick a ball like 50 metres. Obviously, an AFL ball's a bit different, but I think today I might just launch a few 40-20s out of nowhere, see what happens.
All of a sudden, you're just like, oh, he's going to take a hit up. No, he's not. He's kicking it long.
Because
everyone in AFL has to kick right.
Yeah.
Like you can't.
There's no hiding.
No, there's no hiding. Where if I'm a prop in rugby, like, I don't need.
Never
Like
learn.
if I kick, I'm getting taken off. Right.
Yeah.
But I also think like AFL, you catch the ball different. We catch the ball and we want to hold on to it, right?
Yeah.
And you want to catch it and almost get rid of it straight away. So you've always got your hands out in front, which is a good way to still catch a ball. But we want to catch it, and because if you've got someone coming to hit you straight away, you want to protect it, right?
Yeah.
If you've got it out here and you get hit, you're going to lose it. So
The thing about league is they like to what do we call it in the football? Like for a goalkeeper, like basket case it. So you kind of want to put your hands in a position that it bounces anywhere off your chest and you hold it.
Yep.
AFL, the whole idea is you keep your hands in front of your eyes,
Yep.
so that you see the ball the whole way. Same with like goalkeepers in football, like put your hands in front of your eyes. So with league, it's a fair bit different, like that.
Yeah.
That type of thing. The kicks will be interesting today. That's what I'm the most keen for.
Yeah.
To see like if anyone can put a bomb up, and then if they can, if it's accurate, it doesn't go backwards.
there was look, I don't like dissing my own team. We're a solid team. We're definitely gonna win, but I will say there was plenty of guys putting their hands up to kick last night that shouldn't be putting their hands up to kick. Maybe leave it to someone that's kicked before. But hey, it's good fun. It'll be good fun.
Who was putting their hands up to kick?
I'm not dissing anyone individually. Just say as a team. Like I can't kick, so I shouldn't be throwing stones. But I was actually like talking about catching in AFL. I was down in Melbourne last week, and we were just mucking around at work, and they had a football. So 10 minutes into something, you just stop and have a break and kick the footy around. And I was doing that, trying to catch it in front, and just how many times I got hit in the head because it would just go through my hands. I was like, I'm fucking hopeless at AFL.
Got to try and
I know you got like I think I had my
thumbs.
hands too wide and it was just going through my thumbs. But yeah, if you have interlocking, then it's a bit harder. But
yeah.
Respect for the AFL catches.
You ever been down to Melbourne when the AFL's on?
I've been to a few AFL games, and look, I hate to say it, but being to an AFL game live is almost better than a rugby league game.
Best live product in the country, no doubt about it.
But I can't watch it on TV.
Yeah.
Where I watch every single game of NRL. I'd rather watch the worst NRL game over the best AFL game on TV. But if I'm in Melbourne, first thing I'm looking at is the schedule. If there's a Melbourne Storm game, go to that. If not, I'll find out where the AFL is and go to a game because it's awesome live. They do it very well.
Yeah. I think with AFL, it's such a big field. There's no way you could capture it on TV.
No.
Whereas when you're at the game, you're seeing like forwards making 100-meter leads to get the ball. Like
you're looking ahead to where they're kicking it as well. You're like, who's in position? Oh, he's free. Like, can you see him? And then when he does kick it to him, you're like, oh, that was great vision and things like that. Where NRL, all the action's in this one little pocket, wherever the ball is. Like the wingers aren't, running around, getting in different positions. They're just going up and back. So you don't need to capture that, right?
Yeah.
You just need to capture that little window where the ball is.
What do you think of the rugby league product right now?
I love it. I think it's in a great spot. Like it shows that we're going over to America to try and sell it. And I think if they can catch on, opens up a whole new market over there.
How long do you reckon it would take them to catch on if they did?
It'll take a few years.
Yeah.
But I remember when during COVID, and there was no sport in America, and we were the first sport to come back. Oh, UFC, sorry, was I think the first sport in Australia to come back. And people in America were starting to pick up on it. They're like, oh, how good's this? And there was like Barstool Sports guys getting around, the Roosters and different teams. And then it was like only a few weeks later that they started to get sport back, and they sort of just died off on it.
Yeah.
But give them like a full season, if we can, get into that market when they watch a full season, because it's out of their football season. Their footy, their NFL doesn't start. Yeah, it doesn't start till like September. So if they wanted to, they could watch football all year round. Yeah. It's just different types of football. So I think the impacts that we have, the skills that we have, and if they just learn a few of the rules. Like I remember, I love NFL, and one of the first things I got told to do when I started watching NFL as a young fella, they showed me a rule book and just read some of the rules. Because then you understand why they're doing certain things in the game. So if we can crack that market, I think it'll blow up.
Yeah,
globally.
I think you see videos of them; they're fascinated by it.
Yeah,
because the gridiron or NFL, whatever it may be, the headgear, like the helmet, the shoulder pads, everything, the brakes in play. Whereas you got guys with none of that protection, and there's essentially no break compared to gridiron. There's no breaks for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Then you have half time and you go again. Two flat lines, very similar in a way. you have a quarterback instead of a fullback.
Yep.
Same thing goes, and you have your wingers. Like the structure isn't that far off.
No, it's like what are they? You've got to get you've got four downs to get a first down, right? We've got 5 tackles, but we don't. We've just got to get to the try line.
Yeah.
But if we don't get the try line, we kick it, just like they kick it.
Yeah.
So the elements of the games are very similar. So if we can get that across the line and get them to see it. I know Jordan Mailata, he the Eagles, he was talking to the Kelsey brothers, and he was saying like talking about the game and trying to sell it to them a little bit. He's saying like we all talk about like the pads that they have, and we don't have pads and all that. But he was saying the pads there, they don't really do that much. Like they're very thin, right? But it's just the illusion of they've got these pads, we don't, and the impacts that we have. Impacts are very similar. So,
you see it with CTE when they talk about like the headgear and the helmets.
Yep.
The idea of they have this perception of they're overly protected, so they throw themselves even more at contact. Saw it with Aaron Hernandez. That guy was a madman on the field. Crazy fucking off it.
Yeah.
Studies his brain after. Same thing. So like, yeah, it's interesting seeing all that as well come out, where they're like, the protection of it actually is somewhat detrimental if there's already issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Like,
crazy.
I've spoken to NRL physio a fair bit, and he's like, every time they start bringing up, if we wear everyone just wear headgear, it'll stop. He's like, that's just idiotic. Yeah. But I understand, like, as kids, give them headgear just to feel a bit. They get the mentality, they feel a bit safer. Not that they're going to throw themselves wildly, but then even wean them off the headgear so that they don't think that this is going to protect them from concussions and CTE and stuff like that. So
think about America. I have 2 mates I played AFL with that are both kickers in college over there. All shout out to Sav Rocker. I'm not sure if you.
Yeah, I remember Sav. Yeah.
Yeah. For those listening, Sav Rocker.
Is he still running the? Oh, sorry, go. Yep.
Is he still running what?
Like wasn't he running the kick thing here?
Yeah,
to take people over to America.
It's based in Victoria.
Yep.
So they base it out of Victoria. Yep. Those 2 boys I knew had to live in Melbourne for a year or 2.
Yeah, yep.
Do uni whilst doing it, and then they go over to college there, continue their degree, and live over there and do it, and play in front of, I think Noah's biggest crowd was like 40,000, and Riley's biggest crowd was 35,000 as it stands. But that's first year. So after first year, you may go to like a smaller college, but if you kick well, you're gonna end up going to the big boys.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, you're playing in front of almost 100,000 people.
Yeah, imagine that.
It's insane, eh? But holy shit, I forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah, Sav Rocker, for those listening, Golden Boot in AFL, whatever you want to call it, won that. Philadelphia Eagles picked him up. He would have been the first, wouldn't he?
No, who was the first? There was someone before him.
Yeah.
But he was one of the biggest, I think, yeah.
Yeah, was it 14 years he was over there?
Yeah, he was with, who was he with?
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia and Seattle, I think. Or was it just Philadelphia?
I think he ended at Philadelphia.
Yep.
And he had his biggest stint at Philly.
Correct, yeah.
But I think there was a different club beforehand or franchise. But yeah. So
I'm thinking Arizona Cardinals, I think.
I'll have a look.
Yeah.
But yeah, this guy set the foundations for essentially America coming over and recruiting AFL punters to take their kicks. What do you think about? What does it have here?
There's a lot of talk about like
Redskins,
was it? Yeah.
Last 2 years was that.
Okay.
Redskins. Yeah, he was at Philly for a while.
There's a guy that does commentary on Channel 7 for the NFL.
Yeah.
I forget who he does it with. Ben. I've got a Ben in my head, but I'm pretty sure he was the first.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Only a little bit before, not much, but.
Do you reckon there's an idea that exists that if you have all the kids who are rejected in college football, if rugby league is somewhat in the back of their minds over there, that you could essentially create like what England has in a Super League could suddenly emerge in America, that you have a rugby league domestic competition in America?
Well, they do have a lot of teams there, and they have some like smaller domestic competitions there. But if they had one, they used to have like a United one that's split, and there's been a lot of infighting over there. Yeah. But yeah, if they threw some money and actually, because there's no real reserve grade gridiron, is there? There's the arena football.
Yeah.
But there's no.
Is that the one the Rock owns?
No, that's the XFL. Sorry.
Yeah.
Now they're starting to utilise these guys that, because how many colleges are there? How many college football players are there? what is it like? Only 1% of college footballers make it to the NFL. Yeah. So there's this massive pool of players that we could get. And you think about like a running back. He just stands there, gets the ball, darts in and out. What does a prop do? Stands there, runs, gets the ball, hits it up, gets tackled, right? So they've got a lot of size about him. You don't have to think a running back is just because he's quick and nimble, he has to play in the backs. Yeah. Imagine him with his nimble feet, running at 100 kilos, running another 100-kilo guy. I just think there's a massive pool that we could utilise.
Yeah, I think their leg speed would be insane. That was something when I've had that thought before in conversation. The NFL, they all seem to have leg speed because they're always just moving in such like quick, small environments, trying to block or sack the quarterback or whatever, trying to chase the running backs. Like their leg speed's insane. I always thought like it'd be interesting to watch them play league if they developed the ball skills.
Yep.
But maybe the game would end up even like it'd be like a different variant of the game almost. You know what I mean?
Our game's like very simple.
Yeah.
When you think about it. Again, the forwards, you get the ball, all you got to do is catch and run and find a gap. You don't have to be stepping and trying to get around 2 or 3 blokes to then. Yeah. You've got to find 2 blokes, try and get around them. That's it. And then the backs, all you do is like run and catch, and you develop these skills of stepping and things like that, which the majority of gridiron players already have. They have those skills of sideways and lateral movement. So I think it's easier for NFL players to probably come to rugby league. We've seen a few NRL players try and go to the NFL, but they just don't like outsiders coming in. They want players that have come up through a system and played NFL for 10, 15 years before they make the NFL. So I think it's easier for them to come over and play our game, and there's a lot of talent there.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy what Val did when you think about it, how he managed, like he didn't make it necessarily, but he still came home back into an Origin jersey.
Yeah.
And like held it.
Never missed a beat, really.
Yeah. It's like Val.
There's probably a few games that, he's a bit slow there or whatever, but didn't take him long to get back into it. So
I've thought about that before. It's like Valentine Holmes really fucking, like I'd be so shocked if I ever saw anyone did what he did in terms of like just seamlessly, like he went straight back into Origin.
Yep.
Like that's no easy feat,
No.
Crazy, eh?
The amount of talent, we've got they're picking the best, 34 players out of 600 odd every year. And he just walks straight back into one. Yeah. So
him and Gagai, man, cheat codes, eh?
Yeah.
And that
Origin Gagai, it's one of the best.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I wanted to ask you something else. Since the game has changed in say 2020, 2021, I am a Penrith fan. Grew up in the 2-7 postcode. Shout out Wimberley. But so I have enjoyed the fruits of the changes. Do you think there's an argument to be made that the changes have somewhat created a product that only a few teams have benefited off?
Changes as in which?
So a lot of people argue,
the on-field like rules and things. Or?
A lot of people kind of argue that before the rule changes, maybe the game was a bit better because we had different winners more so every year.
Yeah.
Ever since the rule changes, we only had one. So do you reckon the game was a bit better beforehand, or do you reckon it's at its best now? On-field product strictly.
I think if you take out the Panthers, we've had 3 different challenges each year. Right, all 4 different challenges in the last 4 years. We had Melbourne in 2020 won it. We had Souths, Parramatta, Broncos. And you think Broncos were wooden spooners a few years before.
Yeah.
Parramatta
dropped out of the 8.
Dropped out of the 8, right? Souths dropped out of the 8
2
years later. So I look at that and look at the different teams like Newcastle Knights made it, Canberra made it, dropped out, come back in. All around, I think Penrith's a bit of an anomaly. They, what was it, 10, 15 years ago? I'm out west, so out in Parks. They set up like 3 academies out there, one in Forbes, one in Dubbo, and one in Mudgee, I think, if I'm right. And just spent a lot of money and time with the juniors out there. And you see it coming through, like Zayo, Matt Burton, Billy Burns, Liam Martin.
What's that prop's name?
For Panthers.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. How do I not know his name?
James Fish Harris and Moses Leota.
No, he's the young fella. He come in during Origin.
You lost me now. You're normally pretty good with that. But yeah, so and they've set up all these academies and they've set up this system through the Panthers, all these juniors. So you look a couple of years ago where they won almost every single title, like Harold Matts, SG Ball, New South Wales Cup, first grade. Their system that they have is no one else has that system at the moment, or that well-developed system as they have. So they're going to be on top for a long time.
Yeah.
They might not win it every year, but they'll be pushing for a grand final probably for the next 10 years, right, with the amount of juniors and stuff they have coming through and the system they have. So, yeah, they're playing great football as well. But if you take them out and have a look at all the rest of the teams coming in and out and the different challenges we have at the grand final, I think the NRL system works.
Yeah, Liam Henry.
And the rules and who?
Liam Henry.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Where's he from?
Out west.
Yeah, yep.
But, yeah, I think, it's a good point. It's just something that got brought up to me and I was thinking about it. I thought it got brought up to me this week. I thought Roast would be the perfect person to answer that. Answered it well.
Well, everyone plays under the same rules. It's how you adapt to it. And like Melbourne were always the benchmark. Whenever there was a rule change, they'd work out a way to exploit it. Or exploit it sounds like a bad word, but if you're not a coach trying to exploit a rule change, then you're not doing it right. Craig Bellamy was the best at it. And that Melbourne team for the last 15 years were the best at looking at certain rules. How do we get the most out of it? And the Panthers now, they're not really changing what they're doing for the rules. They've just got a great system in place to just keep going.
Yeah.
If there's a rule change, that's fine. We'll work with it and keep going.
Speaking of this year, what do you? Let's go top 4.
Oh, on the spot. I haven't done a top 4 yet. So
Premiership and Wooden Spoon.
Right. So I'll say I think Sharks get back into the top 4.
Wow.
I'm predicting them to break their duck. They haven't won a final since 2018. They're 0-5 since, and everyone talks like they can't beat a top 4, top 8 team, whatever it is. I think this is the year they make a run for it and actually get through to a prelim. So I think they make top 4, win that first final, and get through to a prelim. Panthers will be there, Roosters, and then I think the Broncos drop out. And I haven't really worked out who jumps up in that top 4. I think like Newcastle, like they had a mad run at the end of last year. If they can keep it going, KP's looking to get that number 1 jersey back in Queensland. If he keeps his form throughout the year, Dally M last year, they could even slip in the top 4. There wasn't much between 4th and 8th last year as well, so there's a host of teams. But I'll say my 3 teams are Panthers, Sharks, and Roosters for the top 4. I haven't worked out that 4th spot yet.
Chuck one out there.
I'll throw in Newcastle. I think they can make a run and make 4th. Premiership, I still think Panthers. Like, if you want to pick 1 out of 17, you're going with the best in the biz. Like I said, I think Broncos drop out, and we've had a different challenger every year. So, I just think Panthers are too good.
And Spoon. I know who you go for.
I'm not saying them. Like, I can't say the Dragons. We are in for a long year, to be honest.
I hate to tell you they're mine.
Yeah, there were probably a lot of people, and they were last year, and there was like, they were neck and neck with the Tigers for a while. I was like, oh man, I just do not want to see this. Look, probably easy answers like West Tigers, isn't it?
You reckon?
Could they make 3 in a row?
I don't know, bro. You look at GI walking into the building the other day and you go, fuck.
Under a different resume, with with Benji there.
The whole board, man. That's
and the
more
whole
than
board
anything.
gone, yeah.
Fuck.
I can't say the Dragons. Don't make me say it. So I'm not. I'm going West Tigers. Stuff them.
I've said to the boys, we had this conversation at the pub last Friday. If you take, so everyone, like a lot of us had Dragons. Then we all had a disagreement about Tigers. Like everyone had different opinions, but we don't even know who would come after. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You think, I was saying to the boys, like, you think Dogs, but if they finish bottom 4 again, that isn't like a massive failure.
Yep.
Then you got Dolphins who are in their 2nd year with Wayne.
Yep.
Made 2 amazing signings.
Oh, massive.
I think Flegler is equally the biggest loss and the biggest win of the transfer market. So biggest loss for Bronx, biggest win for Dolphins. I don't think any other signing.
Probably second is Herbie Farnworth.
Yeah.
Right? And they're both gone from the same team to the same team.
I think they'll replace Farnworth somewhat adequately.
Yep.
I just don't know if you can replace Tommy Flegler.
They haven't though, have they? They haven't. There's no signings up front.
Yeah.
I know they've got some young guys coming through. They've lost Palacia as well to the Titans, so they've lost a little bit of depth there, and that's where I think the Broncos will drop out because of that and Farnworth. And like you said, Cobbo if he steps in.
Yeah.
But again, first year in at centre, if he not great the first few games, so we'll swap you back out, and then there's swapping in and out every game. So, but yeah. I think I'm going to stick with the West Tigers for the Spoon.
Yeah.
But I think the bottom, you look at, there's the bottom, say, 5 teams from last year. It's like a lot of them, can improve, can go shit. It's hard to pick out of those bottom 5 teams from last year.
He's a smoky. Shout out to Taylor Sport. Manly could end up close to the bottom. If Turbo gets injured, I don't think.
He needs.
They do not have the squad.
Yep.
Like they were on the DMP on Thursday and they were reading out their squad to Denon. You could tell Denon was trying not to piss himself, but because Denon obviously got to keep up like a fair image.
Yeah.
But they were reading out the squad and I was going, holy fuck, if Tom Trbojevic gets injured again, God forbid Ruben Garrett got injured or something happened to him, that's a wooden spoon squad there.
So you want to know how bad the Dragons are going then? They had an opposed session with the Manly guys yesterday or the day before. Shane Flanagan come out and he's tipped Manly to win the premiership after that contact session. So our own coach is tipping another team to win the comp, and it's the team that you're saying could be a smoky for the wooden spoon.
Fuck, you don't laugh and cry.
Shit. I might change my tip. I think the wooden spoon's the Dragons. Fuck them.
You're a Dragons fan, eh?
I am, yeah. So when I was a young fella, my pop was a Bulldogs fan and Dad was a Dragons fan, and I remember it was around sort of 92, 93, I watched them in the grand finals and Dad was a big supporter, so I jumped on them. I remember Pop, it was around the rumblings of the Super League, which I saw you got the book back there, which I'll have to have a quick squeeze before I go.
No, you can have it if you want. That book taught me everything I know about the Super League war.
Yeah, so there's not a lot of stuff around it, right? Because there's still people that were involved in the Super League war around now, so they don't want to...
Gus, man. Save the fucking ARL.
Yeah. So I'd love to have I know Batuta did it, but it was like a 40-minute episode or something. Yeah. I'd love to see this full TV series, but they just won't talk about it yet. They don't want to... There's still people involved in the game, so they're not going to badmouth them, right? Yeah. But, so it was around that time, and Pop was a Bulldogs fan, and they were joining Super League. So he was like, I'm never watching footy again. And just... He never did. I think he passed away about 5 years later, but he said, I'm never watching another... game again because he hated what they did to the game with Super League. So anyway, he jumped on the Dragons, and then I remember I was a young fella, I was about 10, playing my first sort of tournament in rugby league, and then Scott Goulet come to run it. It was his sort of clinic, and I remember seeing him on telly and just going, this guy's massive. And then he came to our school, and I've got this photo still standing all over these bloody 10-year-old kids, and he was just like a giant. I'm like, oh my God, I just want to be like this guy, and that's what got me into footy. So
yeah, that's mad.
It was the Dragons watching, Tina Turner on, singing Simply the Best on TV, and then the Dragons getting thumped by Brisbane. Wasn't a good day, but
I saw the Tina Turner thing you uploaded. And then they made you take it down, and then you came back with what did you put in it?
So I actually I found it the other day. I found the original one. It's still on YouTube. I'll send you a link if you want to put it in the description. People say. So what I did was I cut up all new footage with the old Tina Turner song. And this is 5-6 years ago, where we wanted a campaign to get Tina Turner back to sing Simply the Best and do that campaign again. And they ended up doing it. I'm not saying it was because of me or anything, but I'm just. I love that. It should be rugby league song. It should be the NRL song. Every year it should be played at the grand final. Up there, Kazali with the AFL, right? That's Simply the Best is a rugby league song. And I made that and put it up. And then I got this letter saying, you got to take it down within 7 days or we'll take further action. I'm like, oh, rightio, I'll take it down. Because the reason was I was using game footage and they didn't want me to use any game footage and their logos. So I took it out and said, no worries. And so I cut it up with all the scandals instead. So I was like, if you can think of the scandals, this is 5 years ago. All the scandals.
Fucked up ones.
There was some fucked up ones, right? And so then it was Tina Turner singing, I It wasn't Simply the Best. It was her other song, which was the initial campaign. Simply the Best came second, but I did it with the other song, and all the scandals, and that stayed up for a little while. It was dumb on my behalf because young fella not young fella, but young in content world.
Yeah.
Just thought, fuck them, I'll come back at you. And now I actually know the guy that's running the head of content there, and like we want to do some stuff together. So it's like it's come full circle. But I thought I fucked the relationship.
Stood your ground.
Yeah,
Stood
up for everyone in the content world, because it was like ultimately all I'm doing is trying to promote the game. Initially, is here's a fan made promo.
Yeah.
If Channel 9 or Fox were dirty about it and told the NRL to then take it down, they could have come and taken it and said, and shown it on their shows. How good's this promo? We're going to run it before a game one night. That would have made my year. Yeah, but instead, I take it down. No one will ever see it again.
Yeah, that's what TikTok, and it's such a different avenue. But TikTok and Insta Reels has done for comedians.
Yep.
It has elevated them so much because the comedians allow their content to be used, whether it's podcasts, whether it's their stand-up shows, for these other accounts that just want to clip it up and make money off revenue. So they're trying to make the best clip they can to go viral so they get, TikTok Creator Fund and all that.
Yep.
But so the comedians are allowing the footage to go out so that essentially their image, they don't have to do all the fucking editing. They just got to put out the raw footage, and then all of a sudden all these guys, like 16-year-olds on CapCut, just fucking smack, edit, put it out on TikTok.
Yep.
100 will miss, one goes viral. All of a sudden Theo Von is in front of, he's got 5 million likes on a TikTok video and he's done nothing.
Yep.
And all his names out to all these people, The NRL, think about sports because they pay so much money for the footage.
Yep.
It's not the NRL. A lot of people think it's the NRL. It's not.
No, it's the company. And I understand their position. Like, they do spend a lot of money for the exclusive rights. But at the same time, I'm not broadcasting a game.
Yeah.
If anything, I'm trying to elevate people
To come.
Or not even to come to the game, to then what, oh, shit, this is a massive hit, or whatever this was. This is funny. I need to find out what sport this is. And especially in, like, America, as much as gambling is a bit of an issue in world and stuff like that, there's a massive influence of it. When you see Americans, they want to have a bet on something. And here's this other sport they can watch and have a punt on or whatever. And they see that and they go, I want to source it out. How do I watch this? I can watch it through Channel 9, watch it on KO Sports or whatever. They're getting more people to watch it. So I'm doing it for free. I was, when I first started. Luckily now I'm getting paid to do a little bit of it. But ultimately, most of these guys that are promoting the game, a lot of these guys playing the game today, they're all doing it for free just to try and promote the game.
Yeah.
You should be encouraging it.
Just love it.
Yep, just love it. So, and then, massive on TikTok, like showing a quick little highlight. Like I said, we're not showing a full game. No. We're not broadcasting it live to take away from your broadcast so we can get viewers over here. What we're doing is showing a clip and people go, oh, I want to see this again. Source it out.
The best thing Optus Sport did, so Optus Sport, I'm a football boy. The best thing Optus Sport did was they won the Premier League contract. Obviously set Optus Sport up for life, like in terms of bringing people over. What they did, which was so smart, is they put all the highlights for free on YouTube, which then created their top of funnel marketing for people to go, if I want to watch this product I'm watching, the best football in the world live, I have to go straight to Optus Sport, who've just uploaded the highlights on their own channel. You know what I mean? I feel like
NBA did the same thing, or similar thing, where they just let anyone use their footage.
UFC.
No, they were big on.
Didn't they do one event, but
they one event they said was you could use any footage from it for any promotional purposes. It was almost like there was like a thing sent out because I got a message saying if you want to use any footage from here, you can. Because I'd maybe use a clip here and there and sort of run under the radar. But there's people that were uploading like massive finishes and stuff and getting their shit taken down, which is fair enough because they're basically putting the ending of a fight right on YouTube or any other social straight away. So it stops people from even, if they wanted to buy it after the event, they could. Instead, they've just seen a clip which spoiled the ending, so they're not going to go buy it. So I understand their position in taking that sort of stuff down. But yeah, they allowed one event, and I forget, it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah,
and
I remember it.
There's clips just going out everywhere. It was good.
Yeah, I reckon that's the way forward for UFC.
Yep.
Maybe the smaller events where, up and coming fighters. Because then you build those fighters as well.
Yeah, 100%. Like I was saying, the NBA, they just allow it like almost free range, not to broadcast a game, obviously, but if you want to clip up a highlight, do whatever, and people are doing it, and it's you've seen their sales and their promotion go off the charts.
America gets it, eh?
Yeah,
fucking America gets it for all their downfalls. Like in sport, they just understand consumerism more than anything. And we need to take a leaf out of them.
Do you know, like, this is one thing I hated like 5-6 years ago when I first started, that I would clip up something and post it up, but then get it taken down or ask to take it down. Not even that same clip, another clip or whatever, Sports Center would go, how about this hit? And they'd show it.
Yeah.
And then the NRL would promote that and say, how good's this? The Sports Center's picked it up, or ESPN over in America. I'm like, I was doing that for you for free. Yeah. Now they're doing it and you want to promote it. So you almost like you're contradicting yourself in doing that. But they've changed the stance a fair bit now. So I'll give them credit. There's a lot more stuff going out. There's a lot more free range with the NRL. It's almost like they've switched off that quickly cancel sort of thing. So they've been a lot better.
With content, you spoke about on the Bloke podcast. So if anyone here's kind of coming through, but for the new listeners, you worked like hospitality retail, and then you ended up in banking. And you at what age? So are you happy to reveal your age?
Look, I'll say late 30s. I'm 39. Yeah.
How long ago was it when you just started fucking around with like Photoshop and Illustrator and all that? Like,
it wasn't until like, I don't know. I was like, always had a fascination with it.
Yeah.
It was probably like late 20s. I started just mucking around. We had a mate's birthday coming up, and he was a massive Star Wars fan, and we just took the piss out of him. Like, not because I'm a Star Wars fan. Not because he's a Star Wars fan, but in the video just for his birthday, and we just had all these shots, and we did the text coming through like a Star Wars thing, and then all these, just mix of photos. And that was sort of when I first started messing around with it, and I was like, oh, this is fun, this is cool. And then my eldest daughter, I took some time off when she was born. I took some paternity leave to look after her, and then I started mucking around a bit more. And I was a massive UFC fan, and Tommy Toehold was this page that I followed.
MMA
Roasted as well. He was separate, so he was just a comedian. He's still around now. He's got his Twitter page, MMA Roasted, and he was just taking the piss out of people on Twitter. So we started like NRL Roasted, and just did the same sort of thing. And it sort of died off, but then picked it back up when a few years later. But yeah, Tommy Toehold was this character who pretended like he was interviewing fighters and cut out their head and put them on like a smaller fighter body, and then just moved their mouth like a South Park, like the Canadians in South Park. And I was like, I want to do that. So I started doing that and mucking around with different stuff in the UFC and things. And then from there, just developed into, making content. And then I started doing rugby league. I was like, no one's really doing it in rugby league, this sort of style of stuff. And I started messing around. Like, I looked at a heap of pages, and every time a team would lose, they'd throw out a box of tissues with the emblem on it, and that was very basic. It was like, oh, have a cry because you lost. And I was like, oh, we can do better. And I like not being arrogant, but I just thought, I want to try and do better. I want to have a go. And did a piece with it was Josh Reynolds, Trip Joel Thompson, and he tripped you. And Des Hasler was the coach of Canterbury at the time, and Mary McGregor was the coach of the Dragons with Joel Thompson. So I mashed it up with Karate Kid, where he goes sweep the leg, and just put the heads on each one, and Josh Reynolds go in there and sweep the leg. There's someone in the background, get him a body bag, and I put that out there, and it went through all these groups, and they posted on certain pages and thing. But he got shown on by Bo Ryan on the Footy Show.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, I've got something here. I can try and do it. So then I just started the roast and started making a bit of content.
Yeah.
And,
insane, man.
Yeah.
Insane, man.
7 years. So it was 7 years ago. Yeah.
A lot of followers. Fucking
yeah. So started on Facebook. Actually, it'll be, I actually think
3rd of February today.
Is it 3rd of Feb? I'll just, how you can find out when you first started the page.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's...
Feel free to check.
Oh, I'll take too long.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it was either yesterday. I started 7 years ago.
Oh wow.
It was either second of Feb or the 7th of Feb
Yeah, wow.
in 2017. So yeah, a few years. Yeah,
That's insane, eh?
yeah.
That's
and
so
I got
cool.
so I started on Facebook, and it was back in the day when
Facebook was tapped back then. I was
Yeah.
in year 12 in 2017. Like Facebook, all the videos back then, like
it was a bit of a cheat code, and a lot of people didn't know how to do it. But I worked it out that you'd put up a poll, so you could put up a static video, and it would be, who's a better player, and you just put up like Joey Johns, Jonathan Thurston. And thumbs up for him, heart for him, right? It was like, and the live results would come up. So if you pressed like, within a few seconds, it'd show your like and it'd move the graph. So then people were sharing it saying, vote for Joey Johns, and it was like very simple content if you think about it. But then every person that reacted to it, you could then go to their, you click on
Invite.
it and go invite. I just sit there, invite. The numbers just grew. And you can still do it to this day. So, but Facebook's a bit.
it's dead.
I used to create content purely for Facebook and then just share a bit to Instagram and then just fully convert it over to Instagram. I could curate content specifically for Instagram.
The
and
Explore
then
page almost, do you reckon?
from
Like your stuff I've seen on my Explore page.
Yeah.
Like, so kind of in your head when you're making it, you're
Yep.
like, I
Yep.
need people to click on this.
correct, yeah. So curate it for Instagram, then just sort of share it over to Facebook and almost forget about it. So
Yeah.
where it was the opposite before, I'd be, interacting in the comments and things like that. I probably spent too much time, waste my time arguing with people and different things. But yeah, Facebook was mad back in the day.
What's your most viral clip ever?
There's this one I always talk about, which is and I've had people come in and do different bits of content. So this wasn't my piece of content, so I'll give credit to the guy that did it. But he had this photo of Tariq Sims, and he was at a beach on holidays, and all he had was a hat in front of his privates, right? And he was just standing on the beach. Nice little photo. What we did is photoshopped it to make the hat look like it was just out a little bit, and then his shadow looked like he had just a. It made his It wasn't very what did he say? It wasn't very honourable for him. And then we've had the comment, when your shadow betrays you.
Yeah.
Right. And posted that, and it did fairly well with our page, but then people have just picked it up and used it on certain pages because it's not a rugby league meme, right? It's just a general meme, and other pages picked it up, and now every year around June, July, people send it to me and go, "How good's this?" I was like, "Yeah, we made it." But it just gets shown through all these pages. If you actually Google when your shadow betrays you, I'm sure it'll pop up.
Tariq Sims, did he ever?
Yeah, I'd probably have to go through the DMs. I don't know if he liked it that much. He might have laughed, but I'm pretty sure he probably hates it every time he gets sent it when it comes up.
I want to speak on player interactions.
Yep.
Fuck, Guru. For you and Guru, right? Guru said he's been blocked by players.
Yep.
That when you listen to Guru, you're like, how the fuck would a player think this is beneficial for them to block him? And then you said on the Blog podcast, you've had a few instances.
Yep.
I don't want any names. I don't want any names at all. Not even off air. It's private. But what are some of the most fascinating interactions that you've had with players, or something they've maybe have you had players blow up about shit where you thought, fuck, that was nothing compared to what I could have done, eh?
Yeah, I could say I won't say his name, but he's not even in the NRL at the moment. So, and I don't begrudge them for blowing up. They've got to think my humour is not everyone's humour. I'm going to say stuff that people don't like.
Yeah,
I understand that. So, but this was a real funny one that I'd seen something mentioned. We talked about it actually before it got mentioned on Fox Sports. I was talking to a few guys and we're like, this particular, I won't say because it'll give it away, but this particular thing about this player he does every game is quite humorous, right? And we should make a bit of content. And then after a game, he was getting interviewed and the Fox guys pointed it out, whatever we were talking about. And he laughed. He was laughing at it. So I was like, okay, cool. He gets it. It's a funny thing to mention. So then I mentioned it once, and then a few months later I mentioned it again, just just to sort of bring it up again and have a bit of fun with it. And then I got a DM from him, basically like being passive aggressive in it, and I was like, I'm not sure if you want to, if you're laughing about this or you actually want to punch me in the face.
Yeah.
And he goes, he swore at me. He goes, you think? Like, and I was like, okay, cool. You don't. And I was like, how can you laugh at it when Fox do it, when you're on TV, but then not laugh about it when I do it? So either he was being fake on TV and he didn't like it and didn't call it out, or he just, just all of a sudden wanted to blow up about it. So it was funny how like I sense something and go, okay, he agrees it's funny. Let's have a laugh about it and bring it up. But he might have just thought I was, poking personal fun at him instead. So that was a weird interaction.
Who was the first player? And you can feel. I hope you drop a name here. Who was the first player that like reached out and was like, "Fuck, like this is funny," or "This is good stuff," or like "This is what we need."
It was when I moved over to Instagram.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say. I can't remember who the first one was.
Do you remember any names from like early days?
I'll say like there's guys like Aaron Woods.
Yeah, it's funny.
He's fun, and I think he sort of gets social media now because he's starting to get to the end of his career. He's getting into media, and he sort of knows like, if I can,
I've got to leverage this.
Yeah. So I think he sort of picked that a few years ago, and he's always been good getting in and around the stuff and things like that. The Panthers boys, they do love it. Like I've seen them. They mightn't get in the mentions in the comments, but they'll, like stuff, like the stories and things like that. Look, majority of players will love it. Yeah. You'll see them, even if they're just viewing a story, they like the page. They might not like every bit of content, but if there's something funny after a score update or whatever, they'll be. You can see them. They'll post it up in their story, which is I find great because like their own team posts a team score. Fox posts a team score, but they'll share mine instead. So that's always good. But look, majority of players are good with it.
Now, different question. So you're obviously during the season or like all year round, you're having emails sent to you, DMs of like shit that's happening. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Opportunities. What are like some of the moments in rugby league over the past like 5 or 6 years since you started Roast where a piece of news has been DM'd or emailed to you, or like someone's called you and you've gone, what the fuck? I actually can't believe like. Any of that blown you away?
I think it was like the Mitchell Pearce, the dog incident. That was pretty mind blowing. It was like videos and like I don't think we might have made fun of it. We didn't like post the video and just go, how bad's this or whatever. We might have made a bit of fun with it and made some. I actually did like. There was a tweet I put out, which you're talking about the viral moments, when Nathan Peets had made Origin, and he was I don't know who he's rooming with, but when they won the game, I put up a fake tweet, which was from him because he was mad on Twitter back in the day, like him and Darcy Lussick could just go head to head, and so he was very popular on Twitter. So I did this fake tweet, which was. Partying up at someone's room, haven't partied this hard since Mitchell Pearce and the dog, or whatever it was. It was dumb, but it was quite funny and posted up. It got shared by like into Fox League had posted it, or like Fox Sports on their webpage had posted it like it was a real tweet, and I was like, oh no, like I'm sure like people thought. I initially thought people would just go, this is clearly a joke. It's not real, but. They've posted this real story, and then Pete's come in and he goes, and I was like, I hope he hasn't got the shits. But he shared it up, goes, look, the tweet's funny, but it's not mine.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, sweet. So he saw the humour in it, and but it went wild. Everyone shared it on all these other pages, and it was one of the viral moments as well. But yeah, that's probably one of the ones, probably the biggest one in the last few years.
I'm trying to think.
That was a long time. That was a few years ago, actually.
Really been any scandals, Like clubs don't really.
I try and like. As big as like scandals are, and they'll generate a lot of comments and likes and shares and stuff like that, I do try and stay away from just posting about the scandal. Like, I don't want to just go, oh, this player got caught doing this. That's not what I want to do. If there's a funny angle around it, that it's okay, it's not that bad. Like players getting caught with, a bit of powder or whatever. You're not going to post like, oh, this player should be banned for 5 matches. No one cares. But You can make bag jokes. You can make,
washing detergent,
washing
Omo
detergent
jokes,
or whatever, and the white lines, and on the footy field, there's comparisons you can make. So there's other angles you can take, not just potting the player, pot the situation, which is fine, but try and stay away from just potting the players for bad things.
When I hate to use his name, but it is what it is. When Val put up that story and he's got his bag in his mouth, right? God bless him. That definitely wasn't cocaine.
No, it was just a joke. It was just joke gone wrong.
So when
just crushed up Panadol, he had a headache. All right, just leave him be.
Fuck, I couldn't hear Ali laugh. When that comes across to you, right? Like, say you see it yourself, or like, say one of the boys in your group chats goes, "Fuck, Val's just put this up, screenshot to send it to you." When you get sent that, does your brain automatically, like, once you process it after a few seconds of like, all right, Valentine Holmes just put this on his story.
Yep.
Does your brain automatically go straight into like, how can I create?
It probably does. Like, I won't lie, it probably does.
Yeah.
But you got to do it in a creative way, right? You can't just like create in a creative way. But like, you can't, a lot of people just post the thing and what a dickhead.
Yeah.
I think he had it in his mouth, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I might have even done like something where it was like an old footy card.
Yeah, Tarza or something.
Tarza or whatever it was. And then I was like, no, I just not going to post it. It's not worth it. Like in the end, because you if the player doesn't like, then you put them offside forever.
Yeah.
If you put them offside, they're around their teamates. You're going to put them offside. Then you're not going to get contact with the club.
Yeah.
So it has a long range of things. So think about like when it comes to the drugs, maybe leave it alone. Other stuff, but like try and work it out in a creative way. What else could he be holding? Could it be the latest, big magazine or whatever's funny, whatever's in the media, a copy of Titanic or, just something random. He's just a mad fan of this movie.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, when you see stuff like that, you're like, oh, this is why players shouldn't have Instagram, like shouldn't have social media.
Yeah.
I actually heard I was going on Twitter and this photo came up. It was Nathan Cleary and Mitch Kenny. I don't know if you saw it.
Mitch Kenny is a soccer. Mary Fowler.
Right. It was just hilarious. Don't know when it would have been. It might have been in the off season or something.
Aussie Day.
Recently, Aussie Day.
Yeah.
And someone in the comments was like, "Where'd you see this?" Because it wasn't on his page. Oh, it was Mitch Kenny's second Insta. Yeah. I was like, oh, a lot of them probably would have like private Instas where they've just got their mates and they're sending stuff. But then you do have other people that come in and follow you. So if you're sending private stuff in the...
Or people they trust are sharing it.
Yeah, yeah.
There was this famous case in the Premier League. Oh, fuck. If I get the wives wrong, forgive me. So you have Wayne Rooney's wife and you have Jamie Vardy's wife. Do you know Jamie Vardy?
Yeah.
So Jamie Vardy was like non-league, like 6 years.
What was he... Who did he play for?
Leicester.
So
he went from
when they won the comp. He was the main player.
So he was non-league, so which is 5th division. Got picked up in the 4th division, then ended up at Leicester in the 3rd division, 2nd division, Premier League, and then survived first year in the Premier League. Great escape. Next year won it. So within like 7 years, he went from non-league to Premier League winner and Golden Boot.
Yep.
So his wife was with him.
What's he doing now? Running.
Still at Leicester.
Making running content.
Yeah. His wife, Rebecca Vardy, she was with him the whole... So you've got this girl who, like, he's in front of the lights, but she's also, like, just kind of out of nowhere. She's ended up in the stardom. Her husband's starting for England, and he was smacking Red Bull, smacking dart. He'd literally smoke a dart before a game. Like, when he was in non-league.
Classic football.
Still does, but it just don't get it caught on camera. Or what is it called? The nicotine... the training, the schnooze.
Zil or something.
Yeah, they have different names, but yeah. So anyway, Wayne Rooney's wife was, because all the wives hang out when they're in international camp. She was telling the girls stuff, and then it was coming out in the media. So what she did was she set up her close friend story, and she'd put something on there every night, but she'd only have one person on her close friend story on Instagram.
Yep.
And she'd obviously just track, so she'd put something up on the close friend story. 24 hours go by, she was like, oh, good, thank God it's not you. I'm looking for a rat. Like, someone's been talking. So she'd contact that friend that was on the close friend story, saw it, and they'll be like, hey, like, what's this about? Like, you okay? And then it came to it. It gets to, like, she just has Jamie Vardy's wife, Rebecca Vardy, in the close friends list, puts this thing on her close friends, completely false, comes out in the media. That's it.
Gotcha, yep.
And that's how she found out that fucking Rebecca Vardy was it's crazy stuff, man, at that level.
That's That's a lot of time too, isn't it? Like one person a night. There might be like 10 wags there. She's going 10 nights. Here we go.
And then like you see it with like those finsters, I think they call them, or like second instars, where just like they're dumping shit, and then it comes out in the media. Yeah,
you can't hide everything. Right? Someone's going to be. You're going to have a player almost in every squad that doesn't get along with every single person. That when they find out something that might benefit them, I might just drop this and leak it or whatever. So
with the media thing, it's so true because you had that. What's his name? James? Is it the guy Romy doesn't get along with?
Hoops?
Nah, not Hoops.
Lebanese
last name maybe, or Greek last name.
I'm just trying to think. Michael Carianis.
Is it Carianis that went up to him at the airport? And he goes, "That's not you. You're
a rat."
Yeah,
no, I don't think it was.
He goes to Jerome Lua. He goes,
might have been Carianis, I think.
He goes, you're not a dickhead. Why? That's not you or whatever. And Jerome's like, first of all, you don't fucking know me. Second of all, don't weigh in on this. Like you're a journo. And then Carianis comes out to
the rat in the story. Yeah, I love that.
And Carianis comes out to Penrith for an interview with Jerome Lua, and then Jerome Lua goes, "Nah, fuck him, I'm not doing it." And then none of the Penrith boys sat down with him.
Yeah,
and you see it like exactly like you said. Like once one player, like with journos and like media, if you got one player that fucking far offside, they'll follow suit. The whole team,
they'll support you.
Yeah,
right? Which good team camaraderie, right? So you can't piss them off. Yeah. And look, I've probably pissed off a couple of players. Like I've got a fair few players that block me.
Yeah.
And I understand why, because like, again, my humour's not for everyone and they've taken it the wrong way. Like I try and make it, even if something bad happens, I try and have a laugh at it to try and then get people not to go all in, to go, oh yeah, it wasn't that bad. It was it was here, there, whatever. Whereas if I just post a story and it's like, how bad was this? Everyone's going to comment, this was terrible, this should happen, blah, blah, blah. It's all negative.
Yeah.
Whereas if I post it and go, it wasn't that bad, they go, yeah, you're right, it wasn't. Just forget about it and try and get over it in a week.
Yeah. It's fascinating stuff, eh?
Yeah. It's funny because, like, there's been players that have, like, I'll give you two instances where I've made some content and the players liked it, and then, like, a month later, I've gone to try and find them again and they've blocked me. There's been two instances. One, I just made this, like, there was this video of this guy. I can't say it without giving it away again, but a player doing something, and I just put some music behind it and said, how about this, rah, rah. It was not in any way negative. It was just having a laugh. And he even liked it, reacted to it, had a comment, and then, checked it like a month later and was like, oh, why can't I tag him? I was like, he's blocked. So you just don't know. Like sometimes, players like something, you think they like it and they don't. But I'm like, why block me? Why don't you just come in and go, hey, mate, I didn't like that. Do you mind taking it down or whatever? I'm like, yep, no worries, done.
Have you had that?
Yeah, I've had plenty of times. Like, this isn't exactly the right story. There's been a few lines crossed in the media or whatever, and they'll come in and let me know.
Yeah.
And I'll go, yeah, no, sweet, I'll take it down. I don't want it to be portrayed as the wrong thing. And there's been times when I've like just got it totally wrong in either a caption or a picture or whatever. Like I remember there was...
You have 10,000 posts, you're bound to...
Yeah, you're bound to get it wrong, right?
Yeah.
There was one where it was like Jake Dvojevic walking off the field. And it looked like he was doing like that. I was like, oh, Jake Dvojevic giving it to the crowd. But he was going out doing his thumbs up, and just going like that. And then so I just took it down. I was like, yeah, no, I got it wrong. Sorry.
Yeah.
You can't win everyone.
You mentioned on the Bloke Poddy, you go like just MIA for 2 weeks a year in terms of social media.
Yep.
How come you do that?
I haven't done it this year. It's just been too full on with Vegas and stuff like that planning. You just that mental health break. So like when I was in my early 20s, I had a job where I was like as a alcohol rep, and I'd be just traveling like all through Central West, which a lot of people know, like going from one town to the next is an hour and there's nothing, right?
Yeah.
And so I was by myself and it was lonely and stuff like that. And I got diagnosed with depression at an early age. And it's just about keeping your mental health in check. Yeah. So as good as social media, there's so many positives about social media, but there are, can drag you down. And if you get caught up in that just social media world and trying to escape reality, you just need that break to get away.
It's also overstimulating.
Yep. It's not real. It's not. I've had so many good relationships, so many good opportunities. I now work full time in social media. Yeah. I've made so many good friends. a lot of enemies as well. But if you get stuck in that world, you forget. Like I've got a wife and 2 kids that they sacrifice so much for me during footy season, where I miss a lot of stuff because of work. I need to make it up to them. So normally I take those 2 weeks and just spend time with the kids. So during the school holidays, whatever they want to do, we're doing it. 2 weeks. Yeah. We normally go away or whatever. This time it's now rolled into we're going to America. So I'm taking them to America. So, but I'll still just keep working where I'll just manage that. For them, they won't see a difference. I'm just out shooting a bit of content. I've even started getting my oldest daughter into a bit of content as well, which is cool. Like I want her to understand it and learn about it. I don't want her to, if she doesn't want to do it, fine, go do something else. But I think you understand like the power of social media, and there's so many things that, and if you run a business, you need social media to promote it. If you've got a personal trainer, you need social media to promote it, right? And it's free promotion. So
Catalog essentially.
Train them up to at least acknowledge it and know it's there and know that they can use it and how well they can use it. But yeah, I basically use those 2 weeks just a mental health break, switch off, and I basically delete it so no one can find it, because I don't want to leave it up and then all of a sudden someone just starts commenting racist stuff, homophobic stuff, whatever, in a comment that I can't moderate. Yeah. Because then that looks bad on myself. So I just delete it so no one can find it. It's like I have actually text messages like, "What happened? Are you okay?" Like I'm like, "No, I'm just off for a bit," and just try not to think about it. Try not to watch. Oh, I'll even sit there and even just watch a bit of sport and enjoy it without having to try and make some content out of it. Yeah, which is hard because now if I watch a movie, every scene I'm like, "How could I use that in rugby league?" Or how can I use that in a bit of content, like some funny comedy, whatever. I watch a sport, something happens, I'm like, "Oh, could I make something out of that?" So if I don't have those, if the page is shut down, not doing anything, then I can just sit there and actually enjoy the sport. Yeah. Enjoy mucking around with the kids, have a bit of time off. Yeah, just get the mind right.
Yeah, detox the brain. 2 things. First of all, thank you for sharing. Second of all, that you mentioned alcohol rep. When I was 22, so a year and a half ago, I was heading to Europe with my best mates to do like Tomorrowland, Ultra, all that. I got a call like as I think I was 3 days out from the guy who does Denon's stuff. And because I messaged Denon to be his producer, like I think I was in year 12. Also like the email was like a year or 2 old.
Yep.
Way too. No, it was like 2020 I messaged Denon, so I don't think Waterboy Matty was on then yet. I was like, if you need a producer, I'm happy to do it for free. Kind of like what Dior did for Helos Sport for a few years. Just go in once a week, do it for free. It's so much fun.
Good experience too.
Yeah, and then he goes...
Sorry, I'll interrupt your story, but that's one lesson that I'll tell anyone. I did the roast for 2 years for free before I started making content for someone else and made a job out of that. And then it was still another couple of years before the roast started making income. So you've got to do it for free. Yeah. You got to sacrifice, and the rewards will come. You make it because you want to make it. Don't make content because you think I'm going to get paid straight away. Make content for what you want to do, and eventually it'll come. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, and 110%, man. I've made content for like videos since I was like 14. Like, there's only this year, last year at the age of 23, I started to get paid for shoots and stuff like that. And but yeah, I actually got the call to do the Mountains West alcohol rep for him.
Oh, yep.
I said, fuck, I'd love to take it, but I go to Europe in 3 days. And he goes, fuck, man, like, I'm so sorry, like, I can't take you on. But I was going to do that stuff for Bloke. But speaking of Bloke, I wanted to ask you now, when you walked in there the other day and you hopped on his potty, how was that feeling?
Well, I think you can see from when I was on there, I was fucking sweating that much. He had to stop like 20 minutes in.
Harley said he goes, turn the fucking aircon on.
Yeah. No, thanks very much, Harley. Really appreciate it, brother. But yeah, it was, and it wasn't even that hot. I have anxiety, right? So, like I said, I diagnosed with depression in my early 20s, anxiety as well. I have a bit of social anxiety, and that's come from also working in social media where you lock yourself in, and a lot of people would experience that. And I'm also from the country where, we're very humble. We don't like talking about ourselves that much. So even when you like a lot of podcasts, I got asked to do a lot of podcasts ages ago, and I'm like, I don't want to because I don't like talking about myself. And that wasn't...
You didn't show your face for a while, eh?
Yeah. So, and that wasn't because I didn't want to. There was other shit, like I said, I've made enemies. Yeah. There's been people that have come in and like stalked me.
Yeah, he
Stalk
talked
my family,
about,
right?
Fucking, what's his name?
memes,
The
little
dog. I know
prick.
his name.
Yeah.
I know his
Don't
fucking
say
name.
his name. We don't want to defame anyone.
But
or
yeah,
whatever.
that-
But you could say his name because it's been in court. But yeah, like that sort of stuff where he like, and I shouldn't say stalk. What he did was just went through my Instagram page, which is fine.
Give people context as
Sorry,
to,
yeah. So back in the early Facebook days, there was a massive couple of pages. One was called NRL Memes. And all he would do would just take other people's content and say it was his. And so I was, started the roast, did a lot of stuff that would get a lot of virality, I suppose. And he would just take it and post it as his own. I just got sick of it and started having arguments with him, like, mate, just at least put a credit on there, say you've shared it from this page or whatever, and he just wouldn't do it. So then started hitting him with like takedown notices and sort of almost threatened court and stuff like that, like just to sort of try and scare him.
Yeah.
And then he just started coming back at me, and he came back with all this list of things like, this is your name, this is where you work, this is your eldest daughter's this, she goes to school here, you're trying to do all this sort of stuff, and I'm just like, who the fuck does this? That's insane. But all you had to do was go to my personal Instagram and you could find all that info, right? So it was my own fault for putting it out there, but it's like you've got to take a lot of time and be a bit whacked in the head to take the time and do that. So yeah, he ended up sharing stuff about Panthers with their Mark Guy's daughter, and said that there was a tape out there that had her in it. And then when everyone was blowing up saying you shouldn't be doing this, this is wrong, he posted all my info, personal pictures, and said my name, the owner of this page is this guy, and I could have sued, I suppose, because that was defamation. Yeah. I had an angry call from Mark Guy at like 10 o'clock at night, like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, listen, Mark, like, I've talked to you once before. This is not me. I run the roast, and then we sorted it all out. He ended up going to court and had to pay costs and stuff like that and a payout to Montana Guy for defaming her. But yeah, so I've had that, and so then that sort of almost shut me off. I don't want to show my face because people are going to use it against you.
Yeah.
So I just kept doing roast sort of behind the scenes and not showing my face and not doing anything vocal. And it sort of hurt, I suppose, a little bit, because now people don't react that well to, or as much to, just me doing content. They just want to see roast content, not Dean doing or Roasty doing content. But I'm starting to do it a little bit more and get it out there and try and build it up. But that was the story behind why I didn't show my face that much at the start, because new people would use it against you.
Hit the bloke potty. Yeah. How were you? Fuck, because when you're sitting, it's weird. When you're sitting in a podcast room, and people talk about it when they go on Rogan. You're talking to Joe Rogan, and there's Jamie in a little booth switching it. That's all there is.
Yeah.
But that podcast, a lot of people are well aware, and then vice versa, they tune it out because they're having a conversation. But people are very consciously aware that podcast gets listened to by 8 figures of people.
Yeah.
Every episode's getting 10 million plus, basically.
Yep.
When you're on Bloke, you know, essentially in rugby league in Australia, well, there is, right? That's him, number one.
Yep.
So when you're on there, was that something that played in your mind? You're like,
100%. And it showed like I was pretty well prepared when I went in. Yeah. Just thinking I'm just going to, just talk naturally and it'll be fine. And I do, like I said, suffer from anxiety where I sweat if I get a bit nervous. And I was fine until I sat down in the chair and we was just sitting there, and then I was like just starting to sweat. Yeah. And I knew that because it was like I'd listened to a bloke, I followed him. That was the first time I'd met him. I've spoken to him for like 8 years. Yeah. I remember when he was first starting out on Bloke.
Locker room,
yeah. And I sent him some stuff. What do you think about this? Could you use this? Like just doing stuff for free. I did up a quote, like a couple of boxes, did some Photoshop and sent it to him, and he used it, which was great. And then he'd come to me and go, I needed a favour. Can you do this for me? Yep, done. There you go. And we'd interacted. And then the roast sort of blew up. We still kept interacting a little bit. But I'd never actually spoken to him. So I've spoken via social media for like 8 years. And now I'm sitting and he's got the biggest rugby league podcast in Australia, in the world, really. And then he's interviewing me. So I'm like, that started running through my head and I'm just like, fuck. Like, it's hectic, right? Like, you want to be in that position where you're interviewing people and now he's actually like, again, I'm thinking through my head, what story do I have to tell? Like, will people listen? You know, are they going to judge me? Am I wearing the right clothes? Should I be wearing something else? Should I, have shaved? Or all these things are like going through your head. Sorry, I didn't do that much with you, and I haven't sweat yet.
Much
no, but it's different because like my world is rugby league, right? And he's got the biggest rugby league podcast. It's like, fuck. I've seen some guys that I've idolised be on this show, and then I'm on the show. This is like crazy. Like, how is this real?
Full circle for you, man.
Yeah, 100%. So, and I don't get that many moments, I suppose, because I've held myself out. And only the last few years sort of start putting my face out there. But I'd have to share this story only because it's probably my shining light, I suppose, in the roast career. I was at Magic Round last year and we're sitting in the corner. We always like sitting in this same corner. I've been there for the last every year, like apart from the year we couldn't get up there because of COVID. We sat in the same spot. And the Channel 9 desk on the field was in front of us and the guys were sitting up behind us as well. So
you're in shot?
No, we weren't in shot, but they'd just be walking up and down. So like Billy, JT, Bracey, all the big guns, right? JT would walk up to his spot. There's this group of guys, half pissed. JT, like doing this. Yeah. Billy, and even Bracey did the same thing. I've gone to get a beer. I've come back with beers for the boys. As I'm walking down the stairs, these same guys, roasty, right? And I'm just like, I've got goosebumps now talking about it. Because I'm like, they're just doing it to these immortals of the game.
Yeah.
And Bracey. But now they're doing it to me. I'm like, how the fuck is this real? I'm like at the fucking Suncorp Stadium, one of the best rugby league stadiums, the most iconic rugby league stadiums in Australia. And they've got a group of guys chanting my name. And I go back to the Caxton, and we just have this spot at the back of the bar. We just stand there all night, and we just drink. And the guys are on the dance floor just cheering my name.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm at the fucking Caxton, like one of the meccas of fucking rugby league,
the mecca of
Queensland rugby league, right? And
it sucks we don't have one, eh?
Yeah, it's hard because like our core stadium, it's just in the fucking middle of nowhere, right? But need somewhere close to like the SFS or anyway. But yeah, they're chanting my name and they want me to come out the dance floor and stuff and people are coming up asking for photos and things like that, which not hate, like, one or two here and there. And it was just so good because then I get to talk to them about footy. I remember I took a note from physio, NRL physio, and he said when he goes and catches up with everyone at Magic Round, he doesn't want to talk. He doesn't want to talk to them. He wants them to talk to him. What's your best thing about rugby league? What's your best thing about Magic Round? I want to hear about your story. And so that's what I do when people come up and ask for a photo. Like, what are you enjoying about Magic Round? We just have a chat about footy. Yeah, so that's like I had to share that before I left.
I've had something similar. So I do like the Sunday League TikToks.
Yep.
Like I just talk shit before and after every game. And I just did it because there's a lot to unfold here. But so in England, you can start a football club like that. Like you can just go into the bottom of the footballing pyramid. Australia doesn't have a footballing pyramid. So I can't start a football club. So what I did, Helos has always been a brand. So what I did is created Sporting Club Helos, where I would make like my Sunday League content over there and any other sport related content. So I go to SG ball games or like Harold Matts, whatever, film some stuff or go to like second division football. I don't know, whatever it may be, right? But I was doing Sunday League, so like just before and after every game. And I grew up with commentary. So I have this weird thing where I'm able to like give me a scene out of any sporting ground and I can start like talking like I'm in a fucking cinematic shot. You know what I mean?
Really? Yeah.
So I can. Cool. It's hard, but it sounds better than what it comes out. But I started doing that, just thinking like, fuck, I'll be happy with 10K views a video. I think like a fair few were doing over 100K each.
Yeah, nice.
And then I got to the point where at Panthers and people at the football fields were going, "Oh, you're the TikTok kid." I completely expected, even if I got 1,000 views, right? Like, because it's such that's my audience there at its core. Same for you, right? You're at a rugby league field, someone goes, "You're roasty," done. Like, that's my audience. I expect to interact with people here.
Yep.
Then it got to a point where I was like, people out in like the middle of public, I'll be with my mum, and they'll be like, "Oh, like you're the TikTok kid. Like, fuck, you're a funny guy, eh?" Like. Yeah. And that shit, and yeah, it's, similar to like that feeling you had. It's like, oh, that's weird, but it's fucking pretty cool. Like, people acknowledge the content at that level, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It's a weird feeling because you've gone your whole life not really just thinking I'm going to work a 9-to-5 job, do whatever, and all of a sudden people point you out in crowds or you know, coming up wanting a photo and things like that. Do you ever get worried like when you're out in public? Because it's not me so much. Like, I walk around home and like now I'm starting to get a few people go, they've seen me on TikTok or I'm doing other stuff. Like, I've seen you on social, you were talking with Volkanovski last week and this player the week before or whatever. I get a little bit of it, like, but just from family and friends.
Yeah.
Do you find it weird when you're out in public and someone's coming up? Do you ever feel like people don't like your content and, you know?
Yeah, I have guys I've versed in football that have called me like names I don't want to repeat on a public platform. But I can tell. I've said this to like, so I'm mates with John Bernard and all that.
Yep.
Even Shaq when he was in here, like we're off air. I was like, bro, like I can tell when someone's looking at me, and I can tell that they are trying. They either know who I am and they've clocked it, or they're trying to figure out. All right, I've seen this guy's head somewhere.
Yep.
And they're sifting through their brain. But I said to John, and I've said it to Shaq. I think I even said it to Olin last year. Olin was at the charity match, just like in the sheds. Yep. And we're talking about it. Olin's like, bro, I walk through like a stadium, and he goes like fuck. He goes like everyone. It feels like everyone's looking at you, and he goes, if you don't know how to deal with it, like it's pretty anxiety. Yeah, you can just, even if you're not an anxious person, if you feel like everyone's fucking looking at you, it just builds up, eh? Like it's interesting phenomenon. But I haven't had anything like that. I had when I got to,
I actually experienced it with Olin when we're over in Perth at the UFC.
Yeah,
and I was with KO, and he was with KO as well, and so we're lining up together. And we're just standing there and like, this is not my crowd, so I'm not going to get picked. But then everyone, like every second person's come up to him wanting a photo. And he's like jumping out of line to do it and then jumping back in, jumping out. I was like, oh, that's fucking, like, I thought it was cool. Yeah. But then I was like, I don't know if I'd like that feeling that much because you don't know, if someone's looking at you. When I'm in like Magic Ground and Caxton Street, I'm not up myself or anything like that where I think everyone's looking at me. But you do get a sense of like, is someone going to yell out? Or like you do hear people yell out roast every day, oh, yeah, how you going? I want to go have a conversation. But you do feel a little bit like, is someone going to yell it out? Or am I just going to walk unnoticed? Like,
yeah, I when we went to the A-League Magic Round, it was the most abysmal thing I've ever seen. But that's where I got noticed a fair bit. But when I'm there, it's I think you'd be the same. There's almost like a small expectation in your mind someone might say something to you. You know what I mean? Like, because that's kind of home. But with Olin, because his content knows no boundaries in any way, shape or form. Not that ours does, but it kind of does. With him, like he's just a personality. So he's just like anyone and everyone could know who that guy is. Spanion's the same. Spanion is... I watched Spanion come out of jail and do a Red Bull interview, and I tell you what, 30,000 views I reckon it was lucky to have back in the day.
Yeah.
He's a rapper. He had this like emo rap, not emo, like dark rap to him. Spanion stops rapping and starts like vlogging. And then all of a sudden I've watched this guy who's like, everyone knew Spanion's like actually lived the life he rapped about. He was this crazy guy in King's Cross. Go from like a small rapper to like, millions. Yeah, he uploads a YouTube video now. It's got almost 1 million views in a day.
Yeah.
And he's doing hoods, like proper journalism. People don't want to talk about it, but it's like in the hoods, he's doing proper journalism.
So he's down in Melbourne.
Dandenong.
Dandenong, yeah.
Yeah, and so for like someone like him, I always think about that. Like he's talked about it as well. He goes, I'm paranoid as fuck because the life I come from is so different.
Yep.
You know? And he goes, yeah, but everyone like notices me now. It's crazy.
It might have been someone like he didn't like back in the day. Yeah. Now he's a little bit jealous, sees him. He's from a dangerous world too, right? Yeah. So, you don't know what's coming his way. With
Denon, I reckon it was 2019. I'm sure you remember this. He used to do Goosey. We were at Field Day or something. I can't remember where we were. We're at a festival and we just went up to him. I was like, hey, chuck a fat fucking Goosey. And he does a Goosey. And then all these boys had clocked that Den and Kent was there, and all these blokes just started gooseying around him. He thought it was the funniest thing. And I could tell in that moment as well, like he's at a festival just enjoying himself, and he's like, wow, like fuck, I've actually built a platform where like there's multi-million-dollar artists up on the stage, and there's blokes interested. You know what I mean?
Interested. 100%.
Was like, fucking just like so happy because at that time blokes still hadn't like fully taken in the direction. And I could tell Denham was just like he had a mad smile on his face, like it's fucking. But that Goosey stuff, that's some of the funniest shit I've seen at that festival. Like
just randoms coming up to him, Goosey,
back right in front.
Who can do the biggest neck snap?
The bloke potty was good, man. I really enjoyed it.
Actually, it was good because one of the guys yesterday at training came up to me and goes, "Oh, listen to your bloke potty. I love hearing about like other content creators talking." And I'm like, yeah, like if I come onto a podcast, like I said, I didn't do a lot of them before. A, because I didn't think I had an interesting story to tell, and B, most of them want to talk footy.
Yeah.
I actually don't like talking footy that much. Like, we do have a podcast where we talk about the NRL, but it's not so integral and analytical. It's just, this is the news and have our opinions on it a bit. But if someone wants to come in and talk creators or, what I've done, I could talk for hours because that's what I love. I love creating and the content. And that's, when I did that, I walked into Kempy and I was like, don't really want to talk footy.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, really? And I was like, yeah, but if you want to talk content, I'll chat your ear off for the next couple of hours. And so then you have people come up and go, I love that because of that. I'm like, that's good. If I can help someone, that's what I'm about because I can't interact or collab with a lot of people where I am. But if I can jump on a podcast and give some insights, my experiences over the last few years and what's made the page so successful, then helps them out. And then I feel like I've done something as well.
How did you feel? How have you felt launching like your own podcast and all that?
Yeah, it's challenging because again, like you see the size of the page, you think it's so successful, and then you run a podcast and first episode you got like 50, 100 people, whatever, and you're like, maybe I shouldn't have done this. But then it's time. You've got to build that. That's a different. People that follow the page didn't follow it for a podcast; they followed it for the content on that page. But if you can give that similar content mixed in with the podcast, then that's what I want to do. Yeah. It's been hard. It's been challenging. I've had different variations. I've done some stuff with players. I've done some stuff with creators. Done some punting stuff. Some just random stuff. It's just trying to find a little bit different. I don't want to be like you got Kempy
saturated market.
It is right. You've got Kempy who does interviews with players and reviews and previews, right?
I don't know how the fuck they sit there for fucking 5 hours on a Monday sometimes.
So I was speaking to Guru yesterday and Hammy. They did the preview, the season preview show for Monday.
Yeah.
6 hours and 52 minutes. They recorded for.
Fuck.
So just I don't know when this is going. This is probably coming out afterwards, but yeah, imagine that. Like trying to listen to that for.
That's insane.
I can't do it, but I understand. Like they do it. If I want to hear about my team, I just skip towards that part, right? And then next day I might go, oh, you know what? I actually want to hear about what he thinks about the Broncos, or Manly, or for whatever reason, whether you're another fan of another team, or I actually want to have a punt this year. What do they think about it? Whatever it is. But yeah, 6 hours 50. I couldn't do that. I do one with Donnie. I'm like, I want to keep it around that 30 to 40 minute mark, where people can listen to it on the way to work. If they've got a long commute or whatever, or after work they can listen to it before dinner.
Yeah.
So it sort of fits in that. I don't want to talk because I can't talk for long periods. I don't even know how long we've been
done
going.
Well, man. It's almost an hour and a half.
Yeah. So this is natural. It's just a good conversation. And that's the thing. Another reason why I got nervous doing because it felt like an interview.
Yeah.
And I felt like I needed to have the right answers, where I've sort of learned from that and gone, I don't need the right answer every single time. I'm going to get it wrong. I'll stuff up. I'll do that. I'll say and R too much. Just go with the flow, and just get a bit more natural.
People enjoy the nature of a conversation.
Correct, yeah.
And I was doing interviews when I started this podcast, but then I kind of just started weighing in with my own opinion and ideas. And you know what I mean? And just kind of and then eventually guests would ask questions back. Isaac John did it in our podcast, and that was my most listened and watched podcast.
Yep.
A few thousand. And that was when I realized there and then it was you got to interact with guests. You got to give your opinion. You know what I mean? You can't just Interviews,
You can't just agree and you go, oh, yep, okay.
Interviews are fucking interviews. Like, they're everywhere. The players get interviewed by fucking everyone. They're not here to get interviewed. People want to see them, what they'd be like to have a beer with. You know, like
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. I think about that all the time. Like, fuck. Like, I just want to. That's why I stopped doing the intros.
Yep.
And just started talking and just tell them, hey, we're recording. Whatever. Because the other part of that was, if you take the top podcast in the world, Rogan, the one thing he does is no intros. And he just rolls in.
Yep.
Sits down, starts having a conversation.
So when you do your intro, like the written one, it's like episode number with Roasty or whoever you're talking to, right? So you've already got an intro.
Yeah.
You don't know, hey guys, we're here with Dean Messer from the NRL ROAST. Like, it's written there.
Yeah. So, or the title. It's everything's in the description. Everything you need to find them, blah, blah, blah. It's all there. I don't need to tell you at the start, like, much more.
When I heard it doing the podcast, like, I need to incorporate that, like how to do that. Because it feels like when you switch on the episode, it almost feels like you've missed something.
Yeah.
But then you're like, oh, do I need to rewind? Like, but then you go, oh no, she's just jumping in straight into a conversation. It's like not so structured. Because there's nothing actually more awkward than you going, I'm here with Demas. How are you? Yeah, no, good, mate. Yeah, no, it just sounds fake.
Yeah, 110%. The other day, I interviewed Malachi Viteni-Zelezniak.
Oh, yeah.
And he was talking about like some of the worst sledges he's received on the field. And we were just sitting in here, and I was like, by the way, we're recording. And I was like, I'll cut that out, but fuck, that's insane.
Good.
Yeah. Oh, man. Some of the shit that comes out of these. Because when you're dealing with like guys like Malachi who are very well spoken, very God loving, family loving, you forget like there's this element of rugby league that's just hard as fucking nails, rough as guts type of blokes.
Yep.
And like he's telling me what guys are saying on the field, and I couldn't even imagine like playing a game of rugby league and hearing someone say that to me in a tackle. Like, fuck, I was just crazy. And
I'll tell you, can I share this? Because it came up. It was on Reddit, and they were like the best insult or best sledge you've heard. And there was this story of this guy. They're playing the grand final, and their best player was the number 6, and he might have been ex-NRL. Anyway, they had this guy on the team who'd played with this guy on the opposition team, who'd either played with this guy or against him and knew some stories. And he said, we need to get him off his game because he's too good. Anyway, he played the first half, played outstanding. They come in the sheds and they go, right, call him number 9. Every time he gets the ball, call him number 9. And so every time he did, they call him number 9. He just started playing like shit, just dropping balls, just having a shocker, even got sent off for 10.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're back in the sheds after winning the game, and they go, which got them to a grand final. They go, what's the story about the number 9? And they go, oh, well, the boys went on a footy trip, found a lass of the night who all the boys went through, and he was the last guy, and he was number 9, and he ended up marrying her. I don't know if you might want to cut that story. I don't know. But
that's fucking funny. Oh,
so they're calling him number 9, which obviously, he was the last guy. Definitely put him off his game. Which, I felt sorry for him.
Yeah, end up marrying us. Fucking unreal.
I know. After the boys had just ran a train, but yeah. Cool.
Was there any club or person attached to that story, or was it nah?
They might have. I'll leave it off just for safety purposes.
You can find it if you want it.
Yeah, you can find it on Reddit. Just go to NRL Reddit and search up sledges. You'll find some good ones.
Now, one thing I wanted to do. So in England, they have I meant to mention this before. They have like Sunday League teams, and they've YouTube. So they have 2 cameras at the game, one on the sideline and one like set up a bit of an aerial shot, if you will, to like kind of get a better picture of the game. But then they have a guy on the sidelines who's got a small little gimbal. And essentially, he's just running along, trying to stay with the action. And then if there's a fight, like over there in Sunday League, like you can run on the pitch to film it. Like it's very, you know what I mean?
Casual.
Yeah. It's not like rugby league where if someone runs on the pitch, it turns into an all-in brawl. Like they'll let managers and stuff run on to just break it up. But so they have this guy that has like the gimbal, and he gets right up in the action and like all that good stuff. And they commentate over it, but they also let the actual sound of the game play out. Like they have like this they were like, oh, you know what he's known for, and then they'll stop commentating, and then all of a sudden just fucking whack just comes through the back of a guy, right? Like you get all the audio of the other team blowing up, and it's awesome. I'm going to do that for my Sunday League team this year. Hopefully within 3 years was the year I set in my head. I want to get a rugby league team as well.
Yep.
Do you reckon that grassroots content would fly? Because no one really does it.
No. I remember it would fly, definitely. I remember I was doing some stuff for my local footy club at home, and I set up a goalpost cam.
Yeah.
And so it was just a little GoPro on the goalpost.
On the black dot?
No, it was on each goalpost, just above the pads.
Yeah.
So
true.
So it wouldn't affect gameplay if the ball hit it. Like imagine if I put it on the black dot and then the ball hit it and went down or something. Like you'd be just shattered that you've cost someone a game or whatever. Yeah. But set up one on each goalpost, looking either way to catch the tries, and also the team then could then use it for video sessions and things like that. But a viral clip from that was a player come up, saw it of the opposition team, ripped it off, and then threw it against the fence. And I've just posted up and might have said something against the other team or whatever, but it's sort of gone viral from just a local footy club. So that's just on a static goalpost, which they've done before in the NRL and things like that. But I would get fascinated when they have the referee cam.
Yeah,
they sometimes have the referee, and he's in when they had the second referee, and he was in. You wouldn't watch it all game, but there'd be clips where those impacts and players blowing up at each other or whatever. If you clip that up and put it on social, would work really well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see I don't know about a man with a gimbal, probably get in the way, probably too much.
No, yeah, but it's not a big one. It's like a little handheld one.
But even another person on the field, just you can see it happening where someone makes a break and he doesn't get out of the way and stops a try. Yeah. And then they go, yeah, we're never doing it. I would like to see it. I think it'd be fun. You could do it in the country footy where, or even, third division or something here or whatever.
Yeah, the guy in Sunday League during the game isn't on there. So he's on the sidelines.
Oh, right.
But say like at halftime, he'll just run over if there's like a biff starting or something.
Yes, yeah.
So when the ball's on the field, he obviously is not in. But he's like, he's as close to the sidelines as you can get. And then if, say, there's a biff or say there's a goal-kicking opportunity, this is if I'm talking in rugby league terms now, he'd get up behind the goal kicker, and do that type of...
Yeah.
When there's big breaks in play where he can obviously get on and get off in good time, I feel like that would just be fucking awesome.
Because there's some really good stuff in that, that we miss out on. And different angles. Like, I actually love the... Again, you don't want to watch it all game, but the flying fox or whatever they have above the thing, watching the line, I actually really enjoy that. One, because you can see how the line's set and you can see where they're moving up, what sort of formation they're moving up, whether they're sliding, whether they should have slid or not, all those sort of different things. So that's cool. I like that. I think that, every now and then someone coming in for some action.
Yeah.
Make some good viral moments, yeah.
Yeah, I just think as well, like you just suddenly create like this... iconic team of just fucking blokes working normal jobs. All of a sudden you create 17 personalities out of nothing.
Yeah, 100%. I really like the Helos
Sporting Club.
Sporting Club, yeah. I just think that's a brilliant idea. Like, even if you just had, not a team, like you don't have a team, but just that community that you have within that club, right?
Yeah.
You have a jersey. Like Bloke does it really well with his jerseys. Everyone wears it. But like if you had like a select community where you're like, okay, I actually thought about doing like a country club, roasted country club. So off-season content's always a bit hard. There's not much happening. But there's footy fans still doing stuff. And they're still, what are they doing? They're playing lawn bowls, playing pool, playing darts, whatever it is. Kicking back, right? Watching movies, watching UFC, all that sort of stuff. So then if I have the roasted country club, which is the first idea I had, where it's like, okay, we watch footy. What are we doing in the off-season? Have some clothes, have some different variations of shirts, summer as well. And then, get together and watch a UFC event or watch whatever. Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Especially out west.
Yeah. We'd come out here. Watch on TV out here.
Come out here.
Yeah.
Get all the farmers eating Bam Bam and shit. You're freaking
like
out.
An event like that, like you go, you know what? If you had even just 100 members in the country club, you go, right, 10 of years are going to come to here, meet Bam Bam, meet Cleary, whatever, have a couple of beers, watch a UFC event, and go home. They'd love it. Coming from the West. We'd jump in, we used to jump in buses and come to footy games. That's like nothing. Just jump in a bus, hire a bus driver to drive here, drive home afterwards.
Yeah.
So.
I remember, Yeah, the grammar school up in the mountains. They'd talk about like 6-hour bus rides to and from their games in high school. Like,
Yeah.
it's fucking insane. It's the craziest thing about out west. People think like, Parks, Bathurst, and all that. It's big. It's like, mate, these places are like fucking that far apart from each other.
Yeah,
And, like
it's 2 hours from Parks to Bathurst.
Yeah,
it's an hour from Parks to Orange.
How far is it to Young?
So Young's south. What from here?
No, is it Yass or Young that's out there?
Both.
Yeah.
Probably 2 hours to Young from Parks, and then Yass is probably the same because you're going to probably a little bit longer. No, about 2 hours. Yeah.
Where's Brockman from?
Denny Brockman from Forbes. So I'm from Forbes.
Yeah.
Originally from Forbes. I live in Parks, so it's 30 k's south.
Yeah.
Parks,
Yeah. So they're not far from each other.
No,
Those two.
a good rivalry. I always said like
Because Brockman fucking played well in that rivalry, did he not? In the union aspect of the rivalry?
he played. I think it was a 2017 grand final. They won. They had Hamani Lavaka, who was originally played for Parks.
Yeah.
Played for Tonga in the World Cup back in 2000 in rugby union. He was our coach, a good mate. Like I trained with him. Funny story with him. Like he goes, "Oh, let's do a gym session." So he worked with my brother. He goes, "Oh," I was playing a bit of rugby as well at the time. He goes, "Oh, let's go do a gym session." Oh yeah, no worries. So get on the bench press, put a plate on. And I was like, "Yeah, yep, sweet." And he's like, he just gets in, boom, 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 boom. It's like, okay, put a little bit more on. Okay, a little bit more on. I'm like, oh. Yep, okay, and he just gets on, boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Like, just a little bit more. And I'm like, okay. And then I'm like struggling. He just gets on, boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, okay, I'm done. And he goes, okay. And then he takes off the small weights, just puts on a couple of big plates, and just starts going. I'm like, why the fuck are you asking me to train with you? Like, it's useless. But, yeah, strong lad. And, so 2017, Ned won the comp with Forbes. But the rivalry between Parks and Forbes, I said there's the biggest rivalry in Australian sport is New South Wales and Queensland in Origin, and I'm biased, but I say the next biggest is Parks and Forbes. Like the crowds we get there, massive,
5,000.
Yeah, and just like in such a big rivalry where it doesn't matter if the team's coming first, team's coming last. Yeah. There'll be 2 points within.
That's what a rivalry is.
Yep.
You could be 3 divisions apart.
Yep.
You see it in football. We have like teams who have been relegated twice and they're in the 3rd division. They verse someone in the top.
Yep.
But if they're rivals for over 100 years, like, it does not fucking matter. All bets are off. Like tackles are coming in, fights are starting. Like I love
my dad used to tell me stories of when he was teenagers. They drive halfway. There's like they call it the Mad Mile, and people from Parks and Forbes would drive, meet there, and just punch on for no reason other than they just hated each other.
For the land.
Yeah, the winner gets nothing, right? You just get pride. Yeah, we won the night. Cool, we're driving home. And mate, if you were from Parks and you went out in Forbes, there's a good chance you're not making it home without getting into an argument or a fight or something. Right?
Really?
Yeah.
That's
I was
rival.
lucky. I was lucky. Excuse the spit there. I was lucky because I was born in Forbes but played footy in Parks.
Yeah.
And going home, Dad was a builder. Like Dad and Pop were builders there, so I had a bit of name around the town. So I was lucky. Like I could go back and I wouldn't get picked on too much.
Fuck, it sounds like you're talking about countries.
Hey?
It sounds like you're talking about actual fucking
Yeah, I might as well like this.
countries,
What's the big rivalry in Europe where there's a border? Like honestly, back in the day, like I would have hated
like Eastern Europe.
Yeah, trying to drive through and navigate through Forbes when you were from Parks, like without getting your tyres slashed.
Yeah, no, that's insane. No, we don't really have anything like that up there. The mountains are so timid.
Yeah,
nothing really crazy. When we were growing up, if you played like Penrith or like we call them flatlanders.
Yeah.
So if you played anyone at the bottom of the hill,
yep.
it was always good stuff. But besides that, we didn't really have it. Penrith was always a good game. Like no matter what sport it was. Like it was, and then if you verse like St. Clair, which is just next to Mountie and all that, they always had gun teams because they all shape of men at the age of 15.
Yeah.
So it was always good rivalries. But yeah. Anyway, we better fucking finish up. It's 10:45.
Yeah, we're gonna get training.
Yeah. Both
warm up those shoulders.
Yeah, by the time this episode comes out, you'll know who has bragging rights in this room, and you'll know
that'll
who.
Be me. That'll be me. Yeah. No, I can't wait. It's gonna be fun.
I put up just before we go. I put up on my story on the SC Helos story. I was like, "Oh, give me some predictions for what you think will happen in the game."
Yep.
Oh fuck, some guys are so funny.
I just love it. Like everyone sort of thinks they can play footy, and it's like. This isn't going to be a classic game of football. No one's going to be talking about this for the ages, but...
So, I said your prediction has to be like if it was a betting market over $3.
Yep.
So we have to have something a bit like out there. One guy, what's his fucking name? Nason Kuroshi, chip and chase, but your bum crack is showing.
To be honest, that could be an early favourite too.
Yeah, I said I don't know about $3 on that one.
Yeah.
One guy said you'll knock someone out in your own team.
That can easily happen. I saw it in the highlights. I was watching it like last night. Someone goes in for a try and there's two heads. I'm just like, oh man, I don't want to go overseas with this massive fucking scar across the top of my head.
One chip and chase that goes backwards, leading to a Ronald McDonald House try under the black dot.
That's good.
3 knock-ons, but 2 tries for the big fella. And then, just fucking, what was the other one? Oh, Falcon steamrolls, breaks through the line in the 79th minute. Goosey sidesteps Shaq TV, the fullback, to win the game.
That's a good one.
That's a bit, I hope that happens.
Yeah.
And then, some of the boys actually put in proper numbers. They were 8 hit-ups, 68 metres, 16 tackles, 4 knock-ons. So the people don't have high hopes for me. Ben Corn I was with him last night, but he sent this before. And I told him after, I hadn't seen it yet. I was like, I'm going to kick a 40-20. I'm going to try. Second tackler for on the foot. Don't give it away. We're in the second
if I see you with the ball, second tackle, I'm running back to try and stop this.
Tells Shaq, I'll go fullback. Yeah. He goes, one successful 40-20 and 1 try in the corner. So it'd be interesting. Some of the predictions. What's your predictions for you?
I said, I think 34-32. I think it'll be a high scorer to us.
Yeah, I hope it's high scorer. Because I feel like once the boys are they're taking it pretty full on, but I just want I just kind of want to say to all the boys just remember it's for charity. If you want to chip and chase, fucking do it. Don't worry.
It's a hard one, isn't it? Because you're it is for charity, and you want to put on a bit of a show. At the same time, you don't want to give up a try. You don't want to go half-assed and then they just run through you. And I'm so I'm and if you run half-assed and get put on your ass, you're in some trouble, right? That's how you get hurt.
Yeah.
So it's I suppose you just feel it. Maybe hopefully I'm in defense when I first run on, and then you can feel it by the way they're running. Yeah. You go, okay, they're running full pelt. I'm going to run full pelt. So
one of my mates,
I hate to be that guy where it's a charity match, and then you run out full pelt, and they go, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh shit."
One of my mates, when we played AFL, he signed up. I said to him, first rule of AFL is you got to go hard.
Yep.
And he's like, why? And he'd see me go into tackles and I get whacked, but I'd come out fine. I was like, I don't know how it works, man, but the harder you go in, the better you come out.
Yep.
Anyway, first one he picks up, he runs and he hesitates, he's ducked his head and he just cops a shoulder to the head. Shoulder to the top of his shoulder, slips up, hits him at the top of his head. The guy was fully concussed. He was fully out of it. I was like, that's why you had to go in harder, because if you went in harder with your shoulder, you would know the shoulder wouldn't have even come near your head.
Yep.
Same goes with footy. I just know I've just got to run hard as fuck today.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't put me on my back. But.
Nah. I won't be, there's no, you're not going to get anything by, picking someone up and putting them on an ass, but just get them to the ground, hold them down, get up. That's all it is.
Yeah. I'm so keen. Anyway, we've got to go.
Yeah.
It's 10:45. We've got to be in Lincoln Oval at 12 p.m. We're currently in the heart of the West in Penrith, so we've got to get out of here. Thanks for hopping on, brother.
Appreciate it, mate. Thank you very much.
Pleasure was mine. See you next week.